So I would like to welcome all of you for joining us tonight, and also welcome the guest speakers for tonight, the Cooperative Cleaners of Ontario. So I would like to proceed to tell you a bit about the collective diaspora. The collective diaspora is a global co-op of Black co-ops and support groups. We are a membership-based organization of Black cooperatives and Black-led cooperative support organizations from across the Africa diaspora. Basically, we are connecting the global Black solidarity economy. Our mission is to build a regenerative economy grounded in racial and gender equity through the development and growth of Black cooperatives around the world. It is widely recognized that a major part of the massive wealth that exists today in this globalized capitalist economy was built on the kidnapping and exploitation of African people during the transatlantic slave trade, or through colonialism and neocolonialism in the present day. This is what Colombia's new and first Black Vice President, Francia Marquez, has referred to as an economic model of death. All of us that are building cooperatives are part of an economic model of life, and we need each other, especially in Black communities. That is why we are calling together all those elements in the Black communities across the diaspora that are grounded in the cooperative traditions of collective ownership and collective work that kept our ancestors alive and that we carry with us today. By deepening our connections with each other, we aim to make our cooperatives, organizations, and our communities stronger and more resilient. Last year, we came together and did a lot of internal work to build a democratic structure. We are carrying that work into this new year and aim to soon begin taking on new membership. Our steering committee members are from different parts of the world, the United States, Canada, and the Caribbean, and we have settled on 4 pillars of work throughout this year, which includes growing resources for Black cooperatives, developing education and training opportunities for Black cooperatives, mapping the global Black co-op ecosystem, and deepening relationships among Black cooperatives. We also focus on capacity building initiative that enhances our ability to develop tools and best practices, educational materials, workshops, and technical assistance. If you want to get involved, whether it is through having your co-op or organization join us, or donating or sharing some other resources to help us meet these goals, then please take a moment to visit our website at https://www.diaspora.coop and fill out the sign-up form. By closing, we would like to appreciate Omar Frela, who is the co-founder and coordinator of the Collective Diaspora, for his resiliency and hard work, as well as the members of the Collective Diaspora for their support and the great job they are doing in the community. Also, I would like to appreciate the Cooperative Cleaners of Ontario, who are here to present to us tonight. And I'm so proud of them because they are one of the cooperatives that, 7 cooperatives that WMRCC of Durham region developed in 2019. So ladies, I'm so proud of you, and we are looking forward to hearing you tonight. Kudos. Thank you so much. So without much ado, I would like to invite Janet, Cos, and Jennifer Miller so to take on from me. So we are looking forward to hear from you, ladies. Thank you.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Jennifer, one of the members of Cooperative Cleaners of Ontario, and with me is Janet Cox, another one of our members.
And I would like to say buenas noches. That's my extent of my Spanish. I don't even know what it is in Portuguese, but buenas noches to everyone.
Okay.
Fine, okay. And Jennifer is not just a member, she is the president of the Cleaning Cooperative of Ontario. Go ahead, Jennifer.
Thanks, Janet. So who are we? Who is Cooperative Cleaners of Ontario? I will tell you how we got started. I want to say back in maybe summer of 2018, myself, Janet, and a few of the ladies that are members right now was also a part of a corporation, not a real corporation, just an organization called Partners in Wellness. And it was run by a naturopathic doctor, and she talked about health and wellness and investment and whatnot. So one day in 2018, Janet came to the meeting with a flyer, all excited that there's a program going on in Ajax, I believe, because we all lived in Toronto, Mississauga, Kitchener, all over. But this program was happening in Ajax. And so the flyer was about learning about worker cooperative. And some of us took it on. And this, even though we live all over, this was like coming into winter. We had to go to these meetings, I believe it was once a month, to understand what this was all about and to see if something we even wanted to do. So we all went from all over. We all got excited learning about co-ops and worker co-ops and different things. Some of us stick it out, some of us didn't. But in the end, we attended a meeting. Esther and Ifat and a few other people taught us about, building a business and strategies and business planning and all this stuff. And I thought, oh man, this is too much. But I wanted to learn more. So myself and Janet and Trudy and all of us just kept on going. And as we went, we just learned more about what a worker co-op was. And we ended up with about 5 or 6 different cooperative. I think of all of them, we're still hanging in there. We're still trying. We're still, looking for the next step. So with that said, after we went through all that learning process, we became incorporated in September 2019. Unfortunately, that was just the beginning of COVID. So although we have this incorporation business and a cleaning business and we're all excited, ready to go, we really didn't do much because some of the ladies wasn't comfortable with doing cleaning, going into homes and all that stuff. So we spend the time really trying to get our business plan together, get our bylaws together, get together any document that we would need to run this business. We basically spent 2 years doing this because for the most part, most of the ladies, or the 7 ladies at the time who were the founding members, we all had full-time jobs. So we try to find time to get everything else together that hopefully when we could get back out there and launch, we were ready. So basically, that's where we spent our 2 years, trying to get all our documents together, trying to understand the accounting side of it, understanding the legal side of it. And it was no easy task. They're all difficult. Like I say, we're all different people, different jobs, doing different things and trying to work together on this one project. So it became difficult. People left. And I think at one point we end up with 4 of us, but we continued. So that's how we got started, just perseverant and just wanted more, wanted to know. And for the most part, the ladies that are involved, they thought it was a great idea that this is theirs. They're building something for them. And the one thing I appreciated from the ladies is that no matter what we did, they always want to know what can we do to give back to the community. So that's one of our biggest thing, although we're running an organization for us, they always want to know how can they build, how can they advance, how can they give back. So those are things we're working on. And I'm going to let Janet jump in.
Yeah, okay.
There's lots to talk about, but I want her to have a part of this as well.
Yes, I want to jump in before we get too much further. And Esther, I didn't even realize you were going to be on tonight. So it's good that you can hear it, because folks, none of these cooperatives would have been possible without the guidance of Esther and Yolo, because Esther has successfully, I think Esther, by now it's about 30 years that you have run WMRCC, which is the Women's Multicultural Resource and Counseling Center in Ontario, correct? Are you for more than 30 years, right? I just happened, like, you know, you'll see in the background of my screen, you'll see Liquid Green Products, and that's our company. We actually create solutions for non-toxic solutions. And I was at, it was like a pop-up. We see them all over now. It was a workshop, and Esther's company was there, and that's where I got those flyers, Jennifer, because they had they were handing out flyers, and they were talking about a meeting that was coming up where women were invited to come and learn about cooperatives. And 4 years ago, I did not know about co-ops, not in the way we do now. And especially, I didn't know about the different types of cooperatives, like the cleaning, like the worker cooperatives. So when we actually went to Esther's place, and I think Esther, it was through a grant from the government, the Trillium Foundation, that you actually got, I think your organization got over $200,000. And the object was, you need to help women to help themselves. And one of the best ways of doing that was for them to create employment. And so we came up, as Jennifer said, excitedly, we had about 24, 25 women, and we actually formed through Esther's foundation, through Esther's WMRCC, we originally were involved with 4 cooperatives. The Cleaning Cooperative of Ontario being one of them. I just want to mention the other names. We had Harmony Creative, which was a sewing group, and they could do anything from haute couture to darning a socks, okay? We also had the Afrocentric idea of a childcare, a daycare, where the Black children, the education that they would receive would be Afrocentric. It would be led, it would be open to everyone, but that was going to be the focus of it. So we had Kumba, childcare, and then we had, what's the other one?
Ebony
Nurse,
which is
PSW. Yes.
Yes, right, for PSWs and nurses, etc. So of the 4, we're still here. And Esther, you know, you can't just let us go, right? We're gonna be with you, because I know whenever we have questions, the first person we go to, we turn to Esther. All right. So Jennifer, I just wanted to add that. And do you want to continue?
Keep going.
Okay. So once we got together, I would say one of the biggest challenges that we faced was, forget about COVID right now, because everybody went through that. But so many people do not understand what is a worker cooperative. And therefore, we had to spend a lot of time trying to tell people why should they become members. Right now, I think we have 27 members, correct?
Correct.
27 members, and we're all Black women. We do have men who have joined us, my husband included, but they're upset that I said, no, you can work with us, we can pay you, but I'm sorry, you're not a Black woman, you cannot become a member, right? And so we're trying to make this a group that is going to be so, even the very choice of the name, the Cooperative Cleaners of Ontario. For everyone in the world, I'm sure you probably might not know the details in Canada, but unlike the US, we don't have states, we have provinces. So Ontario is one of the provinces in Canada, and it's one of the biggest provinces. So our hope is that we're going to be able to service a huge province, and it's going to take some time, it's going to take years, but we're starting small. And we're just trying to build in our own jurisdiction, which is Toronto, the GTA, which encompasses I don't even know, a couple million people, right? But the challenges that we have is two things: getting the workers and getting the business. And of course, how do we try to attract more people? It's marketing. And how do you market? You need money. And everybody knows McDonald's. And everybody would agree that McDonald's, it doesn't matter if anybody from McDonald's is listening, they know they don't have the best burger. All right. But what they do know is that they have the best marketing. And everywhere around the world, McDonald's, you know, it's marketing. So I think one of the challenges that we have is marketing. And it's not for lack of trying, right, Jennifer? We have tried different strategies. We've used different companies. And even now with the newest company we're working with, we still are facing some challenges, right? And in order to market, you need a budget. And that's where the big problem is, because unless you have cash flow in any business, we're going to have some challenges. So Esther, that's why we're going to be still knocking on your door. All right. So
anytime,
right. So marketing is where I believe for the next several months, especially between now and before Christmas, we're going to have to do all the social media, as well as the flyers, we do that, as well as the word of mouth. So I have not even yet thanked the collective diaspora. And this is where I will say that, because it's opportunities like this, where we have a global opportunity to talk about our co-op. And so through the collective diaspora, I just want to say thank you, because this is being recorded, and when we get a copy of it, this is something we can now share with prospective members. All right. So I will end there, Jennifer, and I know you want. Jennifer is our president. I'm the vice president, and we have how many? 5 other board members?
Yes.
Do you want to just call their names? We
have Trudy Tully, who's our secretary, Jacqueline Graham, who's our treasurer, and then we have 3 other ladies who are our directors. No less than any of us. We all have to put in our part and do what we have to do to keep us moving. So although we have those officers, we all equally responsible, and we all equally try to do the best we can. At the moment, like Janet said, I think one of our challenge, we have 27 shareholders, but right now that we have all our document stuff in place, we're going to have to start looking at education. Because although we managed to have these folks, we still need to have them understanding what a worker co-op is, because most of our ladies are families. You know, I have my sister and my niece and my mom involved. Somebody else have their sister and their cousin involved. So we're all families join in because they want to support us. But at the same time, we have to, for us to continue and for them to put that more effort into it, we need to kind of set up some kind of a workshop or education piece where when somebody join, there's certain things we have to let them know that they understand why they're doing this, understand this is their business. Because I think a lot of us still don't get that concept that this is my business and I'm not just a member. So that's one of the challenges and one of the things I really want the ladies to understand, because like I keep telling them, we had our members meeting the other day, and I said to them, you know, we're strong Black women, and we need to show that. We need to move this company to a place where people can look back and say, wow, we did it. We're proud of ourselves, and we don't have an issue getting members. And that's what I want to see. Aside from having a cleaning co-op, I would like for us to come to the place where we're just family. We might not be blood, but we're family. We're there for each other. We're there for the company, and we understand the struggles, and we can pick up and go when somebody else is down or whatever, the next person can pick up. And that's where I would like to take us, not just a cleaning company, but a company who are just strong Black women who wants to, you know, just strive and show people and show the world that is striving. And as we grow, give back to our communities. So it's not just about a cleaning company, it's about our community as well. And that's one of the biggest things that we really want to expose, to share, that we want to give back. We want others to understand, others to join, but join for a purpose, a good purpose, not just to clean and collect a paycheck. Just, we want them to join for a purpose. So it's all about all of that, not just pick up a mop and a broom and clean.
Jennifer, if I can add to that, when we look at a business, so we're looking at the fact that so many of the folks, like we talk about cleaning, but it's not just about cleaning, because if we never had a strong administrator, somebody like yourself, this is one of the challenges, because the way I see it is that a business can only be successful depending on the leadership. And I'm saying this publicly to all, I don't know if it's hundreds or thousands of people online, but I want to give kudos to Jennifer Miller, because she is one of she is a master administrator. And I believe that if we don't have good leadership, we cannot go far. There have been times when during COVID, immediately after COVID, I know there are times when we got frustrated. We had a job and somebody wanted a COVID clean, and we didn't have all the materials we needed. But women, we would come together and we would say, we never say no. We accept the job, and then we go about finding how to do it. Our very first job was with the mayor of Ajax. It's a municipality in Ontario, and he had just won the new mayor. And they had a ball. They had a big masquerade ball, and they were looking for cleaners. Somebody told us about this from the community, and she said, would you like to bid on that contract? And we said, yes. What did we do? We called in, we were just new, and they didn't know we were that new. But we called in a gentleman, what's his name? Leo. Leo has run a successful contracting business, and we called him in to go with us to look at the 15,000 square foot space that we had to clean for our first job. And Leo told us how much to quote, what, and he even lent us the machines, right? HVAC, and and my husband was there as well. And my husband, I swear, we cleaned so many windows. But this is what we do. We take the jobs, and then we say, we need to find out how to do it. So these are some of the things we have done. We've cleaned up for events. So there is a wine company, and every year we are now their standard, we're their go-to. And whenever they have a big party, we have to go, whether it's midnight that night or the next morning, or whether it's out in the country on a golf course somewhere. That is now our job. So when we take a job, we commit to it. All right. We've never done an event cleanup before. We worked for them, and now we have several because one person tells the next and then it grows. We do residential cleaning. That is more competitive because so many people, cleaning is one of the easiest businesses to start, and everybody and their mother can clean. But what we also offer is the products. I'm going to give my company a shameless plug. Because of the fact that we do non-toxic cleaning, we're now able to offer our clients that they're cleaning without any chemicals. And for a cleaning company these days, that's what parents, that's what people want to know, that we're not getting the toxins. So within the two companies, we really work as much as possible together, right? With some of the advertising, etc. And we just got, Hester, we haven't told you this yet, we just signed a contract today with a huge apartment building. And yes, and so we're going to start cleaning that in October. And we have just, again, this week, we've made we don't have the contract yet, but another cooperative who is starting a gym, they reached out to us. They have a 7,000 square foot gym, and they've reached out to us for cleaning. We've sent in the quotation. So everyone out there, put your hands together and hope we get that contract, right? So we're now going to be doing the job fair that we need to do. Training. Jennifer, wouldn't you say that's one of the areas where we need to spend the time? Because I know we have gone, when we can't find somebody quickly, right? What we need to do is the Molly Maid idea, to build teams. And one of the challenges that any cleaning company will find is that a lot of the women, they can clean, they're eager to clean, they need the income, but they don't drive. And you cannot get around a city like Toronto with a mop and a broom and everything else if you don't have a car. So the areas in which we're going to have to expand, we need vehicles. We need to know that we can build teams, and that we're going to be able, if somebody in Mississauga or somebody in Ajax, that we have teams that we can send out on a consistent basis. Another of the areas that we know we need to grow is the whole area with AI. Right now, if you go on our website, and I'd like to give out our website at this point, it's CCOO.coop. So CCOO.coop. And people say, when we give them that, they say, it doesn't sound like a website. They're looking for gmail.com, right? So CCOO.coop. And what we do not have on that website is the automation. So we need funds to grow the website, so somebody can go and sign up and book and confirmation. So we have areas that we know we want to grow and expand, right? And so that is, again, will come from the financial aspect. Right? Jennifer, do you want to talk about the fact that we have some opportunities in terms of some of the government grants, etc.?
Well, the opportunities are there. The challenges is we apply, and no luck so far, but I think maybe we need to start looking at the smaller ones, because there's small ones out there, 500, 1,500. So maybe we start to looking at those ones and building, because like Janet says, at the end of the day, we need some kind of vehicle, especially when we do the special events and all the cleaning. So we need to grow there. We still need more equipment, because especially if we end up getting these apartment buildings and these gyms, we have to be ready for them. So those are things that now we have to go back and revamp and look at and do be more vigilant at getting our grants right and done up, because without those, we don't have enough clients right now to afford purchasing some of the equipments we need. So it's funny, you can tell these are ladies who are really passionate to go. We've for the longest while, or for a while, we use our home vacuums until COVID, and we stopped, but we just made it work. These ladies just wanted to do this, wanted passionate, and we do what we could to make it work. We had people who donated some of their cleaning equipment to us. So, so now we're really going to have to buckle down and figure out how to get these grants in to afford us to be able to be ready for when as we grow, because we are growing. So as we grow, we just need to have things in place and be ready. So the grants will come in handy. Yes.
Okay. So
that's who we are. And
one of the things I would like to add at this point is the fact that for people listening, for your audience, being a cooperative is one of the most successful types of businesses. And that's because of the way in which we have to work together. For example, in my own business, if I have to leave for a vacation, there's nobody there. If my husband and I, if we leave for a vacation, we don't have the infrastructure where we're writing this off and somebody else can look at it. Whereas within the co-op, it doesn't matter. If somebody has to go away, the network, the team is still there. And that is such a strong advantage in being a cooperative. We've also had a lot of help. Remember, Jennifer, in the beginning when we first started, we had Esther, you had arranged training for us. I know I went to New York with you to talk with co-ops from all over the world. That was like one of the best experiences. And I know you have organized, Esther, for us to go to the AGM when the Co-op Board of Ontario meets. And so those are the things that I believe we need to network more with other co-ops, because what I realize is that co-ops actually seek out other co-ops first. That's how the gym came to us. They said, we're a co-op, and we thought we'd look for you first. So we haven't gotten the contract yet, but the fact that they actually went looking for another co-op. And that's why we're glad for the opportunity to talk about what we do, right?
Right.
And
as Janet says, these worker co-op, look out, because we had a contract with a studio co-op, and he really tried to get us cleaning with him, but due to circumstances and financial, but we had them for a good year, maybe. And for a while, that was the only contract we had. So, that paid those little bills we had to pay. But Janet is right. I do think these co-ops seek out one another. So it's just great to understand the co-op concept and how important it can be if people take the time to understand it. Because if you don't understand it, then it makes no difference. But if you understand what a co-op is and buy into what a co-op is, because I'll tell you guys, I am a property manager at a housing co-op. And when I heard about a worker co-op, I thought, oh, this is another side of it that I'd like to learn. So yeah, I just think it's a wonderful thing. And I did what I could to learn the other side of, the housing co-op, the worker co-op, what was the difference? So I'm all about co-ops.
Yes, and one of the other, I would say it's a disadvantage, and it's governmental, because to be a part of a cooperative in Ontario, you're restricted. We can only invest personally $1,000 per year. And for a maximum of 10 years, you can only invest $10,000. So if we had somebody who, was able to invest $25,000 to be a member, it couldn't happen because we're restricted. And I know that was, that's something you might ask about later. But I believe we need to advocate more, because Esther, when we first found out about worker cooperatives, honestly, I knew about co-ops because we know about the banks. We know there's some cooperative banks, right? And I know the farm working, and we know the dairy corporation. But it never really interested us as the Black community that this was an area that we really could pool resources and work together. So that is something I believe that we really have to continue to do, because so many women think, oh my goodness, I'm a member of a co-op. How am I going to make money? Especially the ones that are not for profit, right? So that is something that I know we have to spend. Jennifer, we talk about the education and training. All right.
Yep.
All right. So I want to
you.
leave you here so that we can, spend a little bit of time on questions. So thank you all. Feel free to give kudos to our collective cleaners guests in the chat. But so now we can go ahead and pivot to maybe some questions. Some of those questions you've already answered in the course of your conversation. But I want to maybe go back a little bit to the prehistory for yourself. So there's a lot of things, there's a lot of opportunity maybe to hear about a cooperative, but what made you specifically, each of you, actually say, this is something that I want to take on, this is something that I want to do? Is there something connected to your family histories or your family stories that said, I can do this and I want to do this?
Well, for me, I don't know. I just became. I lived in a co-op. I lived in a housing co-op for several years. Then I moved out and purchased my own home or whatever. And just the interaction with the people. There's a board of directors. There's a committee. There's people coming together. There's a social event that I was really drawn to. That I ended up working in a housing co-op. And from working, when Janet brought the paper regarding the worker co-op, I thought, well, how different is this? So for me, it's just the history of co-op, the importance that I know co-op is from in my 20s. I've been involved with co-op, and I just get to know, and it's just a concept that I think I love. I think it works well if people understand it. So for me, it's just growing up with the co-op movement, and I continued, and I thought it would be interesting to get to know the other side of it, the worker co-op side of it. So for me, that's what it is. I've just been at this since I was in my 20s, and I liked it, and I just wanted to get to know the other side of it and see how I could help my community. How could I get this business going and get other people on board and involved, because I know it works if you do it right and put your mind to it. So for me, that's where I came from with the co-op movement.
And for me, what would I say? When I heard about the Estes program and what they were going to do, it was novel for me in terms of the worker co-op. But I've always been very entrepreneurial minded. I mean, I was a school teacher for 27 years, and I actually retired early 20 years ago so that we could do our own business, right? But I have always been interested in the growth of the Black community. I look at our community, and I don't know who's online, if the collective diaspora is from all countries, diaspora from all countries, or if it's connected only to the African diaspora. But I know that I can speak for the Black community. And I believe that as a community, we have a lot of potential that are unrealized. And so as a school teacher, it was always, what can we do extra to serve? What can we do to see our community move forward? So hearing about these co-ops was an excellent opportunity for business to expand some business ideas. Here we were going to do seniors, students like daycare, sewing. We had it covered. And I chose to spend a lot of time with the cleaning co-op naturally, because for our own business making cleaning solutions, it was going to be a win-win. So for me, that was also a part of it.
All right. And were you about to add on to that, Jennifer? Or I
No,
thought I heard.
she was just mentioning about the other co-ops and just and what we were working on. So I'm just letting her know that we still have those other co-ops in mind, and we're still gonna find a way to get those co-op hustling and bustling as well.
Okay, I'm going to intermingle a little bit of the audience question in between my own, just so that we can get those in. And this one seems like maybe a relatively low lift one, but are you a non-share or a share co-op worker cooperative? I don't know those terms in the US. We don't necessarily have that language. So what type of co-op are you?
Jennifer, do you want to take it? We're shareholders co-op.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Our shares are only $100. And the way the co-op works is if you're a worker, you're entitled to earn an income for the employment. So you're hired and you'll go out to work. But at the end of the year, when there's profit made, all members share profits equally, right? So that's the big advantage of being a co-op member, because you will earn as you go along, but you have the advantage. And that's why if we build a big company, that folks can still benefit from profit sharing from the earnings of the cooperative. Right? So we can add at $100 per share. As I said before, we can actually have 10 shares per year. Like, so it's $1,000 per year for 10 years.
Okay. And there was a question that related to that earlier, which was just about, is there an investor stakeholder or shareholder that exists is there an investor class membership inside of your cooperative? If people wanted to invest, is that even possible in the way that you all are structured?
Only if they're in Ontario.
Okay, all right.
So unfortunately, if we had a rich Panamanian or a rich somebody from Portugal or New York or wherever, if somebody wanted to, give us $25,000, we could take it as a donation, I believe.
Not 100% sure that the checker
but we couldn't come in as a member with $25,000. No.
Okay, well, we'll help them find somebody in Ontario to put that money in pocket. So I'm curious about you. You've named a little bit about your management structure, which is that you have these officer roles on the board. I think I heard that you have 27 members or 27 shareholders total.
Yes.
At the moment. Okay. And so how do you all function in terms of decision making? Do all of those members regularly come together? Is it just that those officers
the board of directors
come together and make decisions?
Yeah.
How do you all do your decision making?
We listen to what Jennifer says.
Oh no, we have so the board of directors is like 7 people. We have meetings once a month, and the way our bylaw is structured, the shareholders have given us that authority, if that's the right word, to make those decisions on their behalf. So anything we have to do that's not going to cost thousands of dollars, just simply running the co-op from day to day, is done by the board of directors. We have shareholders right now, once a year we have shareholders meeting. We're planning on having it a couple times more, but any decision, we have a shareholders chat or email set up, and anything we're doing, any decision that we're making out of the regular everyday thing, the membership would know, because we can only spend a certain amount of money without their direction, right? So the everyday stuff we do, we let them know what we're doing. But if we had to do some, like for instance, if we had the funds, we're going to buy a vehicle to get around, that would have to be a decision of everyone. So we call a meeting, discuss it. This is what it's going to cost. This is why. What do you guys think? So anything major would have to run by everyone. But the simple everyday buying paper and ink and uniforms and those things are all done by the board of directors.
Yeah.
Okay. And You know, I know that you have named that you're trying to cultivate more cooperative education to get the other members more involved. So what are there any small ways that you want to name that you've been slowly being able to get members more engaged in the whole governance of the cooperative, or
Well,
just, the full operations of the cooperative?
yes, it's right now, it's mostly word of mouth. Like as Jennifer said, we've had several of the members have family members within the membership structure. But we have different like WhatsApp. WhatsApp is a fantastic group for chats. And therefore, there are so many chat groups that if we have a job, for example, and we need to find more cleaners than we need, we have a few network of WhatsApp groups that it's the go-to for anything Black in our community. If you need a dentist, if you need a Black plumber, if you need a Black electrician, this is a go-to group. We also have groups like the Black Queens of Toronto and of Durham, sorry. And when they need homes cleaned, they come first to the cleaning co-op to look. That's where we get a lot of our business, from these other groups. So we do reach out, and whenever, for example, again through Esther, and if there is say the city is putting on something and we have a chance to have a table there where we can take our flyers, right? And even Esther, at your last meeting at your AGM, we had a chance to go on the podium and we were able to offer discounts to the 300-400 people in the crowd, right?
Our gala, our 30th anniversary gala.
Right. So your gala.
One of the things
we can to.
Yeah. One of the things as well, there's a association in Canada, the Worker Co-op Association, and I can't remember if they're out of Winnipeg, but a different province anyways. And they offer a lot of governance and information about worker co-op. So I try to get the ladies to log on to those websites, and that's a challenge because everyone is busy, but there's free information out there that we tap into to get some education on governance and how our board is run and the different financial structure of a board. So the information is there. The challenge is trying to find a way to get the ladies to actually tap in. So that's where we're at right now.
Okay. And there was an earlier question, which I think you've already answered in terms of how do you split profits. You've talked about patronage. I guess that maybe you're early enough in your business cycle that maybe you haven't been able to do a patronage dividend just yet. It's still okay. All right. But you do maybe have in your bylaws a way that members can talk and discuss whether or not they want to do a patronage dividend.
Right.
Okay.
I think Juliet from the Banker Ladies Council has been raising her hand for so long.
Okay,
So
I recognize it. Yes, transparent facilitation. Me and Omar were talking about it. I was trying to get through some more questions, but I saw your note in the chat. Juliet, were you about to speak to the share issue?
Yes. So hi everyone. Jennifer, Janet, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Esther, kudos, fellow banker lady. And it's been so inspiring listening to both of you. And I wanted to speak briefly on what you talked about in terms of your challenge for marketing, right? And getting access to funds. So I'm part of two different cooperatives. One is a worker co-op, Whole Woman Network, and another is a multi-stakeholder co-op, Black Women Professional Co-op. And I'm on the board, the advisory board, BIPOC advisory board for the Canadian Worker Co-op Federation. So what we've been trying to do is to get as many Black-owned, BIPOC-owned cooperatives to get the resources and the help that they need. And it's been really difficult finding everyone. In fact, I was speaking with Esther we had a meeting earlier during the week, and we're saying there's a need to have a list of all of these cooperatives so that we can have like a stronger voice to access the funding that we need. So I'm really, really open to connecting with your group in terms of helping with the marketing, just little things like even just the social media to plug it out to, because a lot of our members have lots of followers. And I know they would love to have a Black-owned cleaning corporation that they can talk about and refer friends and family to. That's one. And the second thing, the Canadian Worker Co-op Federation has different pockets of grants. They're micro grants, right? Like 1,500, 2,000, 3,000, thereabout. But it's a good place to start because once you access that, you also access the advisory support, right? For marketing, feasibility study, governance, all of that. And they have recorded sessions. So your members can listen at leisure.
Right.
Right. And then this final thing I'm going to say is I'm on the board of Paro Women's Enterprise. They are based out of Thunder Bay, also in Ontario. Paro offers microloans. Now, let's say in your co-op, you're 20 members or 23 members. Each of you, through Whole Woman Network, can access microloans from Paro. But here's the thing, they have a matching grant. So you get $1,000 loan and you get $1,000 in grants.
Wow.
Matching. So each of you, we can do that for each of you. We just have to do the paperwork. So if you're 20, for instance, and you each have a business or you're under the co-op, it's almost like 20 people being able to access those loans. But you use the grant portion and just pay back the loans. You see what I mean? So it's a way to leverage the resources, and I'm willing to like work with you. I'm like just excited to see other Black-owned cooperatives.
How do we reach you?
Where are you in the city?
I'm in Richmond Hill, so just north.
Okay.
Like
and
we
how
move
do we
around.
reach you? What's your email or something?
Oh, Esther has all of that, but
Okay.
I'll put it in the chat room.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Juliet, just for what you've said, if you want to hire us for your next cleaning job, we'll make sure you get a very good discount.
And so this is actually a really great transitional point to the other question that I had, because I just want to, call it out for everyone who's been here and who's been listening. We heard about Women's Multicultural Resource and Counseling Center. We've had Juliet come in and share, multiple resources. We've heard about the other co-ops that you all were being developed alongside. We've heard about a co-op that hired you all and, gave you a really nice contract. So or maybe is in the process of evaluating if they're going to give you a really nice contract. So is there anything that you want to say about the ecosystem that is needed to develop cooperatives, the ecosystem that is needed for Black cooperatives to thrive, and maybe how important it's been for you all?
There is someone in Canada. Her name is Caroline Hussein.
And Janet, I'll be right back.
Okay, good. Caroline Hussein is, she is the chief spokesperson for cooperatives in Canada. I know there is somebody in the US, in Atlanta, I believe. I forget her name, but she's also
Jessica Gordon Nemhard, it's the twins.
Jessica Nemhard. We were trying to get her to Canada, and the COVID came and that didn't happen. But I know she was here for another group and I missed her, but we did see her in New York. So through Caroline Hussein, she is one of the people that's really pounding the pavement in terms of trying to get more visibility, trying to get the work of cooperatives more known, trying to get it more mainstream. Because I think still cooperatives we're not the mainstream. And I believe if people understood more, hence the education, about how they work and how they function, that we would have much more interest, right? So what was the question again?
Oh, it was just about you speaking to how the ecosystem has supported you in launching this cooperative, and if there are other things you want to say about how important ecosystems are for cooperatives.
Right. So I think, okay, so I think I was fair in answering that. Esther, what do you think?
Well, you answered it all, eh? So, as you mentioned, I have to also acknowledge the work that Professor Caroline Hussein has been doing, amplifying our existence and the work that women, especially Black women and racialized women and women from the vulnerable communities are doing. Helping. I know she supported us last year with you and other cooperative we developed.
Yeah.
She gave us a teaching assistant who interviewed you, and she's working on the paper. And I'm looking forward to see the outcome of those interviews with you. And also, we are trying to promote cooperative in Canada. WMRCC developed 7 cooperatives, which Cooperative Cleaners of Ontario was one of them in 2019. Right now, we are also working on developing 7 more cooperatives.
Interpreters is one.
Yes, and in different areas, child minding, dress designing and dressmaking, cleaners co-op, PSW, artist group, and hairdressing group, and which other group that I haven't mentioned.
I think you mentioned there's going to be a new maintenance group.
Yes.
For for snow removal, etc.
Exactly. So we are working on that. And I think when it comes to cooperative, the ecosystem is growing. I know when Janet and Jennifer started, they were saying that they never knew about co-op. And myself too, I didn't know about co-op. When I went to school, I didn't study co-op. I studied something different. But in our community some years ago, this organization delivered cooperative programs. And from there, that was the first time I was exposed to this co-op. And later on, I had to approach the executive director, in fact, of that organization and ask her, please, that project you delivered some years ago, WMRCC would want to model it, want to create some cooperative group because it was a great initiative. And that's how we started running cooperative groups. And it's really working. It is enabling us to educate and raise community awareness about cooperative in our communities, and especially focusing on immigrant women. So that's the only thing I have to say about that.
I would like to add something at this point. Sorry, Esther, were you finished?
No, I say the same thing is applicable to the work that we are doing as collective diaspora. We are all working on cooperative system, and Juliet's organization and the Banker Ladies Council of Ontario. So we are trying to promote this idea and raise community awareness, advocate for the cooperative movement.
Okay.
In Canada, and the collective diaspora is doing it globally because the members come from different parts of the world, from United States, from Canada, from the Caribbean.
So if I could, this is the perfect time for me to just add something very quickly, because in terms of the ecosystem, I had a chance to speak with Omar just before we started, and I mentioned to him the African Union. The African Union 6th region is going to be an opportunity that all cooperatives will have. And we all know that Africa has 5 regions currently. We have North, South, East, West, and Central Africa. And now, since 2012, we now have the diaspora, which is now the 6th region, AU6 RC region. And they're now in the process of establishing a structure And I know Omar and through the collective, we're going to be able to use that platform to really branch out and talk more about cooperatives. So it's going to be just what you're doing, but we're going to have a framework within which we can really reach out to so many others globally. Right? Just to hitchhike on what you are already doing.
And so that's a beautiful cap. I want to ask maybe one final question that might close us out, which is just is there a next elegant step that you want people to know if they are somewhere beyond Ontario and they were like you when you started this cooperative, they were curious, they were ready? Is there one thing that you might want someone else beyond Ontario to know who's Black and who's like, I wonder if a co-op is for me?
Okay. Well,
co-op is for anyone, anyone who anywhere who can work with others. I think that's the key. It's not a singular thing. It's a group thing. So you have to be able to know how to work together, how to know when it's not personal, but it's for the best of the group. So this is maybe what we should do instead of this. So you just have to know to be a people person, work with people, understand how co-op function. I think that is so important. If someone don't understand the concept, it's very hard to sell the concept. So anybody who is interested, you should try to first let them understand what they're getting into. What's the purpose of this? For them to understand, is this for me? Is this a group thing that I think I can work with? So until people can understand that, know that they can work interactive with one another, because it's never a one-man show. A co-op is a group thing, which I think is so good, because I think you can reach more, you can do more than one single person could probably do. So for me, I would always say, if it's something you're interested in, just see who else may be interested in that concept and see how you guys interact together, and knowing that you can get further with a group of like-minded people than one singular person.
Yes. And Jennifer, I just want to add to that, because Juliet, there's another co-op that I totally forgot to mention that we're both involved with. And again, this is in the initial stages, but this is the Ontario Tenant Cooperative Inc. This one did not originate from WMRCC, but we definitely had the idea. It's through meeting with other people. From Esther, we met with Rocco. You remember Rocco?
I know Rocco. Yeah. Rocco.
And he was so fabulous. This is an Italian gentleman, and we've been networking with him, and we have registered the Ontario Tenant Cooperative. And this is going to be, the entire world is talking about the homelessness and the crisis in housing. And so this is going to be entry-level homes that will be built through a cooperative that which will help take people out of their cars and out of the street, and that will be the stepping stone to work with municipalities, builders, brokers, buy the land, etc., so that people can be housed at the most elementary level. So this can be done not just in Canada, not just in the developing world, not just in the first world, but in the developing world in any capacity. And Mike, I was hoping you would ask us the question about where do we see ourselves in the next 25 years?
Okay.
Good, Janet.
Go for it, Janet. Let us know.
Spin the wheel.
Jennifer, you always say like, I like to think big. And I don't see, I call myself an ideapreneur. I have these fantastic ideas, but if I don't have people like Jennifer, who are the executioners, they will remain ideas. So for the next 25 years, we want to build a team that will look like any boardroom across any corporation or any cooperative, a big one. And our goal was to have 5,000 members. So we won't even wait 25 years to have 5,000 members, but that's where we want to go. We want to drive. When we go on the street, we want to see the truck, Cooperative Cleaners of Ontario. We want to see the building in the plazas that are owned, that people will come into us, and we want to clean the Sky Dome. I never called it the Rogers Center. We want to clean big facilities. We want to be able to hire hundreds of people.
We will.
People will look at us and say, oh my God, I used to know those women. Isn't that the group that started from WMRCC 10 years ago or 5 years ago? So that's what I want to see. I want to see us come together. A lot of women. I'm telling even my daughter, I said, even if you don't want to work with us, just join, become a member, give us your money, and we can, then invest and hire more people and do the marketing, etc. We want to be able to be a significant powerhouse in the next few years. And we'll just be one Black business that has done really, really well. Okay, so thank you so much again for the opportunity, for being here. Esther, it all started with you. And thank you for all these connections. I don't know where you find everything you find to get us involved in, but we really do appreciate it. And thank you, all the listeners. And thank you, Jennifer. Jennifer says she's shy, and I never believe her.
Yes.
So, thank you so much.
And thank you, Janet Bennett Cox, Jennifer Miller, Cooperative Cleaners of Ontario. Janet giving us an amazing mic drop moment. I don't have a mic, I just have this little talking object. So, I just have to drop that. So I really appreciate that. I really appreciate your stories and all that you've shared today, and the amazing connection between both the cooperative that you're building and housing, which is a very similar connection to Chicago, and Shy Fresh Kitchen. And so, I want everyone to just make sure you visit Cooperative Cleaners of Ontario at their website. And I also want to make sure that you know that this is what Collective Diaspora does. We host these educational events and talk about cooperatives because we want to foment and excite you about the possibilities of Black cooperatives all throughout the diaspora and connect them, build directories, build the global network. So make sure you visit diaspora.coop, diaspora.coop. There's a donation button there where you can donate on the website to our Open Collective page. You can also scan that QR code and it will take you there. And if you are in NYC, September 6th, come out for the chocolate tasting fundraiser with the first featured collective or cooperative, which was the Cross Atlantic Chocolate Collective. So come get some chocolate and talk about cooperatives yet again. And we will keep bursting with new conversations as we go along.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Omar
everyone.
and the group, and Esther. Thank you so much, and Julia.
Janet and Jennifer, you blew us, away. Wow, powerful women. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Thank
wow. Thank you.
We learned from the best.
We did. We're still learning, Esther. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you, ladies. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Okay, thanks everyone for attending. Thank you, Collective Diaspora. Thank you, Omar. Thank you, Mike. Thanks, everyone.
Take care.
You too.
You too.
Bye, Kimi.
But Madam Chingham is sick, the way how she's getting on. As I reach in the morning, all day me name calling. She's too miserable, everything she want me to do is rough. You wash up the wells, no matter. You clean down the stairs, no matter. Entertain the guests, no matter. You clean up the mess, no matter.